I wonder if Jeff Bezos knew what he was doing 30 years ago. Did he know that his grandchild would become not only the largest bookstore, but also a giant online retailer? Did he envision AWS as the #1 largest cloud provider on the planet? Or 200 million subscribers for this Amazon Prime Video streaming? Amazon today has become as successful as it's generally possible, and Bezos himself in 2018 became the first person to overtake Bill Gates on the list of the richest people on the planet. But how did this become possible on the dawn of the internet? And why Amazon is not the best place to work now? By his 30s, Jeff Bezos pretty much had it all. He had a career, stability, and family, but it wasn't enough for him. So he quit as vice president of the giant hedge fund and decided to embark on an adventure to give up everything and start his own thing. By thing, I mean his startup. He wanted to become the largest bookstore in the world. When he started back in 1994, the internet was just invented, and people didn't know what it was truly capable of. Bezos himself loved reading and wanted to do something related to programming. So he put these two together and started Amazon. Despite the internet being weak and unstable, and Bezos' website was originally only a web page of text separated by headings adorned with a single graphic of the letter A and the shape of a Mandarin river. Even back then, Amazon was advertising itself as the largest bookstore on earth. His customers no longer needed to look for a book in various stores all over the city. It was now listed among thousands of books on the website. A very simple, practical, and relevant idea. So, what did he need to start Amazon? Money, obviously. Every idea needs funding. However, venture capitalists back then were not interested in early startups, so Bezos approached his parents. Interesting fact here, Bezos was raised by a stepfather who supported him all the way. It is rather an inspirational and sentimental story. You see, Miguel Bezos arrived in the US from Cuba when he was 16. And he didn't speak a word of English. He later studied hard and worked a lot at Exxon. So when Bezos approached him, Miguel gave a loan of a little over $245,000 in exchange of 6% equity. That was a smart move, right? Yet, Bezos' success story is perceived skeptically by some people, because many believe that he owes his success to his parents, and it's all about the initial investments. Like, if a person has so much money at the start, then even a fool can be successful. But guys, there are plenty of companies that didn't survive to this day, although they had way more money than Bezos and his stepfather. Bezos' parents were not betting on technology, but rather on their son. And it's not that Jeff didn't believe in himself. I think he just wanted to be honest with his parents when he told them of slim chances of getting their money back. But his efforts were not in vain. Already in the first month of operation, Amazon showed excellent results. The company sold books all over the US, and if we get ahead of ourselves, then to date the return on investment of his parents has already amounted to about 12 million%. Impressive, right? At the beginning, Bezos argued that for the success of an online retail store, the company needed to get big fast, a slogan that he even printed on employee t-shirts. In fact, Amazon.com really grew quickly. Look, if the website was launched from scratch in 1995, then by December next year, Bezos had already accumulated a customer base of 180,000 people. And less than a year later, Amazon already had about 1 million customer accounts. Amazon's income was going strong, and in about 2 years of working, Bezos decided that it would be nice to get access to more investments and list his company on the stock market. The average stock price was $0.8 in 1997, and in case if we obtained, let's say, 100,000 shares for $80,000, they would be worth $50 million today. Not bad, huh? But people tend to look for excuses and obvious reasons behind any successful story. Same thing here. People say there are 3 main reasons behind Bezos' success. First of all, Amazon had focused on customer convenience, emphasizing this everywhere and in every possible way. Secondly, at the time, there were practically no companies that would offer the same online services. And thirdly, virtual sales were tax-free, and Amazon sold millions of books at prices lower than physical stores could afford. So Jeff's website quickly became ultra popular among users, and seeing this, soon publishers, small and large booksellers working on commission wanted to join in the success. Bezos planned it that way. The collaboration was mutually beneficial, not philanthropic, and implied a percentage of sales and placement, a fee in favor of Amazon. Time for drama, because not everyone liked Amazon's booming success. Some bookstores were outraged by the fact that customers fled from retail stores to the internet, and honest taxpayers, publishers, printing press owners, and even writers who were accustomed to counting on royalties from the sales of their books suffered losses to some extent due to the damn Amazon taking over a lot of the market share. Bezos made everyone play by his rules. I think his main weapons against competitors were pressure, unexpected decisions, and a cool temper. And although many note his incredible ability to laugh loud and quite often, this trait gives me chills. I mean, he is a person who sees his goals and goes for it no matter what. Back then, Bezos had already become a controversial hero due to his harsh monopoly tactics and desire to dictate prices and profit margins to publishers. Bezos created conditions that were beneficial to himself only and ruined others. And it is how business world works, yet he could have done it with less pleasure, right? Anyhow, Bezos was a truly hardworking person. He didn't rest. He spent all the money on improving the website and the quality of customer service, while he was working at this desk, all covered with wires, and owned this car. The owner of Amazon that was valued at $438 million when just ended IPO in 1997. As we remember, he almost dominated the book market back then, so he surely decided to go ahead and expand his business to sell computer games and music. Around the same time, Bezos wanted to buy Netflix, and it almost worked. Have a look at my video about Netflix to see why his offer was not taken. Over time, Amazon introduced many ideas, and one of them was especially good. Dev introduced a buy now in one-click button in addition to the standard add to cart option. Thanks to this feature, a person could spontaneously decide to buy goods, and even now, many people buy things they don't really need because of this very button. Bezos even patented this feature, and this patent expired only in 2017. It's hard to say whether the one-click button or something else had such a big impact on Jeff's growing income. But in 1999, he was included for the first time in Forbes' list of the world's billionaires, with a net worth of $10 billion. And if you think that Bezos losing his grip at that moment, then no. He didn't want to remain just a book magnate. He realized that he could sell anything on Amazon. But not every idea turned out to be good, yet Bezos strategically implemented one after another. What truly helped out Amazon is the data the company collected from the start. Bezos quickly realized that personalization means a lot in sales, and people don't always know what they want. They want to be offered. So he did just that. Amazon's enormous database of its customer behavior enabled Bezos to send out personalized offers and recommendations. Genius. I mean, it seems so simple, yet many businesses fail today because they don't take data collection and analysis seriously. However, the era of success and rapid growth for startups ended on the 14th of April in 2000, when the Nasdaq lost 355 points one day and continued to sink to the bottom. And yet, Amazon survived the dot-com crisis. And of course, I wondered how. Perhaps it's because the company has shifted its focus to the bottom line, working furiously to improve the way it picks, packs, and delivers goods to a customer despite the crisis. And back in 2000s, Jeff launched the Amazon Marketplace, through which any third-party vendor could sell anything on Amazon. Was it free for suppliers? No. They gave Amazon a cut of all sales, so not only did Amazon increase revenue and continue to grow, but it gained so many new customers and suppliers that at one point, Bezos ran out of storage space. Then he decided to invest in the technological development of his own data warehouse. This is how AWS was born, a division of Amazon's Cloud Web Services, which now provides many services, virtual services, storage, database, containers, and much more. Again, at that time, this was another area in which there was virtually no serious competition. As a result, this business has become so successful for Amazon that currently 40% of Amazon profitability comes from AWS. And most of the world's leading companies such as Netflix, Facebook, Pinterest, LinkedIn, GE, and NASA trust their data to web services and Bezos cloud storage. This all is mind-blowing, don't you agree? Yet, it's only the tip of the iceberg because I only mentioned a few of Bezos' inventions. There are a lot of them. The one I admire the most is Kindle, a budget-friendly electronic reading device. The launch of the reader was a stroke of genius, thanks to which Amazon's core product took on a new meaning. Books can now be purchased not only in paper format but also digitally. It was a cool, useful gadget, but As for the profit from sales, there was simply none, because Bezos released the product to the market with zero profit. You wonder, how is this possible? It's very simple. Even while losing money on the Kindle device itself, the company made money by selling books. I immediately remember the story of Gillette with their affordable shaving kits and far from cheap disposable blades. Have a look at my video about Gillette. I mean, this man invented only one thing, yet this creature made his name crazy popular. And if you wonder why my favorite invention was the Kindle, I want to say that it seems so important to me that core business was not forgotten. I mean, it all started with books and reading, and when people became less interested in carrying actual books around, Bezos came up with the idea to reincarnate reading and make books interesting and modern. Amazon had a significant first-mover advantage thanks to the talent of Jeff Bezos, but to maintain that advantage, it was necessary to continue to work on new ideas, technologies, and team quality and spirit. In this regard, not everything was so smooth. At the time, the company already had about 17,000 employees, so it was difficult to do without high-profile scandals and lawsuits. Most of the complaints were related to the violation of working conditions, the high physical workload of employees, and a tense regulatory system that exhausted people, restricting them from taking a single step without supervision. The fact is that almost every Amazon employee has a scanner that tracks movements and location in the warehouse, in the office, and anywhere else, right down to the toilet. And cameras and second-by-second countdown timers are installed at employee workplaces. And yes, people complain that all this made them panic. Many are afraid of making a mistake. They cannot talk with colleagues. They are afraid to take a break. They are busy with work, like robots, all day long. One of the employees once said, "The fact is that Amazon produces a huge amount of data, and in wanting to analyze the entire workforce, they treat us not as people or even as robots. They treat us as part of the data flow." Of course, the company's management denied any violations, saying that all the demands were within the framework of the law. But if you believe the word of former employees, then if you don't meet the standards, you're out the door. And by the way, back in 1997, Bezos warned potential employees when applying for a job, you can work long, hard, or smart. But at Amazon.com, you can't choose 2 out of 3. What do you think of this phrase? Apparently, Bezos has gained reputation within his own company because of a toxic work culture. According to journalist Brad Stone, Bezos sometimes made comments to his employees, such as, "Sorry, did I take my stupidity pills today? Are you lazy or just incompetent? Why are you ruining my life?" And so on. And I'm not saying he's the worst employer or that this doesn't happen anywhere else, yet this part of my story disappoints me. Amazon has been criticized for its custom data collection practices, tax evasion, and anti-competitive behavior. And while Amazon wasn't very profitable in its first decade, making virtually no profit until 2014, blowing all its income back into the business, the fun part started in 2018 when Jeff Bezos was named the richest man in the world, and his fortune reached $112 billion. If you compare Bezos with the average American, his wealth at that time was equal to the wealth of more than 2.5 million Americans. However, Bezos remained quite a stingy employer. Soon, against his backdrop of this rapidly growing wealth, Amazon workers began to have many questions about the lack of compensation and satisfactory working conditions in the company, as well as about violations of labor rights. Amazon workers in Poland, Germany, and Spain participated in demonstrations and strikes. The sentiment everywhere was Amazon workers pack boxes for the richest man in the world, but his wealth doesn't make their lives any better. Well, it seems that Bezos himself is not very worried about what they say or write about him in the press. He enjoys life to the maximum. And as a longtime fan of Star Trek and the sci-fi world, he is now competing with Elon Musk for the colonization of space and the creation of viable worlds outside of Earth. Well, I hope one day I get to be a space tourist on board one of the ships of this incredible, powerful, and maybe a little bit scary man. The story of Amazon is impressive, and it surely is a lot to study and learn from. Yet I wish success came along with less or no employee drama, and people were treated fairly. At the end of the day, people matter. Keep up learning, guys. Success is just the number of attempts.